you just said it can do more. This is the first steps, what we see in these platforms like with Learn Worlds, but in the future it will do more. What more will it do, Matt? Predict.
Well, that remains
Yeah.
to be decided. I mean, there's a whole ethical dilemma to this too that I
What
don't know
would
if we
you
want to get
like it
into,
to do
but
as an instructional designer? What would you like to see it do?
so what I would like to see is like real-time content authoring, like in a reliable way. So right now it's not like the models aren't proven enough that I trust it to produce real-time content to the learner. So right now you could create a learning experience where it's kind of adapting to the information it's receiving. Like maybe the student isn't quite grasping the content. It can identify that and provide feedback to kind of remediate, right? To address any deficiencies and kind of based on the assessments and things like that.
Cool,
But
yeah.
I don't trust it yet. And maybe that's just me. Maybe there are better models, better ways to kind of tune the AI to have more reliable feedback. But um, from my perspective, it's not proven enough to do that on a large scale, other than just like R&D or for topics that aren't critical, from a training perspective.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Like,
It does. It sounds like what you're saying is it can on the fly be able to analyze the exchange that's having in real time with any particular learner and be able to quickly make a decision on how to ask the question in another way for Bubba. And then for Myrtle, it might be struggling on the same question, but the reiteration, the way of rephrasing the question that worked for Bubba isn't going to be the way you would want to do it for Myrtle, because Myrtle has demonstrated a different kind of pattern in.
right. Well, whenever you design a training experience, regardless of its academic, or enterprise, learning and development, people walk into that experience with a different backgrounds, right?
Yeah,
With
right.
different levels of knowledge, with different experiences, with different expectations sometimes. So they're starting from different places. So from an instructional perspective, it's always a challenge to figure out where to start, right? So if it could get to the point where the AI can reliably and consistently kind of analyze where that starting place should be, and then not just with text, but with images, audio, video, and kind of interactive experiences,
Yeah,
generate kind of what that course should look like for that individual.
right. That's there you go. So AI says, okay, so the best way to get this point across to Bubba is to do a drag and drop interface and match the boxes and something like that on Articulate. The best way to teach this concept with Myrtle, who's also struggling with it, would be to maybe tell a story about what happens when you're playing a game of bridge as a metaphor, perhaps, or something of that nature, and then pull a lesson from that.
Mhm. And that's kind of the how. There's also the what. That's how you're teaching it. There's also the what needs to be taught because in your example, Myrtle might not have as much experience as the other person, so she needs a little bit more introductory guidance before she can get to the core lessons, right?